It's not over until we say it is. Morning, everybody. Good to be with you on another edition of Bury Your Bookie, presented by Greenlight Ventures and brought to you by Bet Online. Jeff DeForest, and the most compelling action last night had to be the World Series. There were a couple of college games, not necessarily of great significance, but if you have money on them, it greatly enhances your overall interest in the game and makes the action far more compelling, no doubt about it. Even if you were watching that snoozer with Sam Houston, where I think 4 field goals was the total. The under players were dancing in the streets, and for good reason. But even Aaron Boone couldn't fuck up this one as the Yankees bounce back, extend the series. So we have another World Series game to watch and bet on tonight. You didn't think that the Yankees were going to get swept coming into the series, certainly not with the pitching problems that were being faced by the Los Angeles Dodgers. But then again, and we tried to emphasize this with a number of intelligent handicappers, including the gentleman who's going to join us here in just a second, Troy West, we try to emphasize the Fernando factor. And you have to be a believer in matters of the occult. But when Fernando Valenzuela checked out 2 days before the World Series, I believe it's had an impact so far. So we'll see if Garrett Cole can lock one down for the Yankees tonight against Flaherty, a rematch on the mound of game number 1, which the Dodgers prevailed largely due to the bozoic moves that were made by Aaron Boone in that particular ball game. But yeah, Volpe turned into Bucky fucking Dent last night. That home run proved to be the winning margin as the Yankees stayed alive with an 11-4 victory. Now, if you are betting the games and basketball's in full swing, it's that time of the year again. The NBA is back from opening tip-off to buzzer beaters. So you get in on all the action. It's been very exciting so far. BetOnline has you covered with the best odds, the biggest promotions, and live in-game betting on all your favorite teams. This season, every game matters. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, every breakdown, live odds to bet on during the game. You absolutely cannot beat it. And if it's not just the NBA that you're interested in, you can bet on virtually anything from the World Series remaining action to NFL football, college football, the NHL, and even political props with Election Day right down the road. Head to the website today to get in on all the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. Bet Online, the game starts here. A couple of games of interest that we want to talk about here on the program, as you do have the 5th game of the World Series tonight. So that will no doubt be taking a lot of action and gathering a lot of the attention of the betting public out there. Have a Thursday night football game that's kind of curious. And in town here, this used to be a huge rivalry. If you lived in South Florida, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach area, and the Knicks were in town to take on the Miami Heat, and you went back to, say, the early 90s, that's all anybody was talking about. And it was a divided country, just like today, as we're seeing with the presidential race. That's how the city was divided. Ex-New Yorkers all rooting for the Knicks. People from South Florida all in on the Miami Heat. They play. The rivalry has dissipated. I think the Knicks being bad for so many years has taken a lot of the sting and the sizzle out of that rivalry. But interestingly, tonight we'll have some analysis, I'm sure, as we're joined by Troy West. Have you looked at this Knicks Heat matchup? There are a couple of things in play here, but have you taken any kind of a look at Knicks Heat in the NBA tonight?
Just started to. Knicks are starting to play a little bit better basketball. They're starting to gel a little bit. But as we talked about earlier in the year, this is a team that's, yes, they a lot of these guys played together in college, but they're still trying to find their identity with their new roster. I mean, it's just a lot of new guys on that roster, and they're trying to figure out. Obviously Brunson is the main guy, but now you throw in Carl Anthony Towns into the mix. He needs to get his touches, and Mikal Bridges has got to get his touches. So they're still kind of all over the place right now.
Yeah, I mean, the Heat. Did you see this by any chance? The people out there, the Heat unveiled a statue of Dwayne Wade. Did you catch this thing?
I did not see that yet. No, I did not
What a
see that.
piece of shit. I mean, and supposedly Wade was involved the entire time. I don't know where they got the sculptor for this thing, but he must have gotten his shingle at the University of Guam or something. I mean, it was hardly Da
I
Vinci.
gotta look that up.
It is the worst replica of a guy. Now, it happens at the Hall of Fame, the NFL Hall of Fame, and they'll take the cover off the bust there, and like Terry Bradshaw is standing next to the thing, and it looks nothing like him. They have a black guy with a large afro, and it's supposed to be Terry Bradshaw. That it happens, but This was an atrocity, Troy. I can assure you. You would have to bet. I think there's probably an over under on maybe 1 year. We'll go a year and a hook before they begin to realize that they need to make alterations on this thing. Otherwise, people are just going to eventually tear it down because it's a disgrace. And I don't know. Will that impact the? We were talking about matters of the occult. Does that cast a little bit of a shadow over tonight's game? You're not inclined to believe in this kind of shit, but I'm always trying to lure you into it.
I don't, especially the NBA here. I feels like Dwayne Wade has been out of that Miami Heat, you know, facility for so long now. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
You wouldn't recognize him from the statue, that's for sure.
Okay, I'll take a look. I'll take a look.
You have to see this thing. I mean, literally, he looks like Red Fox facially, and then they have him, in some kind of pose. I guess it was a pose he made after he had hit a big shot in the playoffs or something, and was famous for when he jumped on the scorer's table and did a little flex job. But I'm thinking maybe it casts a little shadow, and I'm willing to factor that in with the idea that the Heat absolutely suck on the boards, and they should get badly out rebounded, and second point chances tonight might be very much in favor of the Knicks. So I don't know. I mean, do you lay two on the
I'll
road? The
follow
Knicks.
that theory. I'll follow that theory. I'm into it. Like I said, I think the Knicks have the better roster, and they did get a win under their belt, which I think takes a little bit of that pressure off. So, like you said, yeah, I see the 1 and 2 Knicks head into Miami, a 2.5 favorite. I like the Knicks in that game, no doubt.
All right, I got you into that one. I don't know if that was anywhere close to the
Mhm.
games that you were looking at giving out. And how have you been doing with NBA basketball so far?
We're off to a nice start. Had the Sacramento Kings last night at Utah with the big win. We're still very selective in the early goings, but one thing we haven't talked too much about is there's a lot of value to be had with these prop bets. I mean, last night, boy, I don't know how many he finished with, but Anthony Edwards, 24 points in the first quarter last night. Sometimes you can find these superstars in very favorable matchups in terms of their prop bets, and a lot of times they're overvalued. I'll give you an example. Um, Game one, the Knicks were at the Celtics, and Jalen Brunson's uh, total was 29.5. That's a lot of points for the first game of the season. New roster, new players, all of that. So picking your spots there and going under the total in a situation like that. But NBA, the prop bets are crazy. You can do points, rebounds, assists. You can do will the guy get a double double or a triple double? It's a lot of fun to be able to do NBA prop bets.
Now, are you inclined to recommend massive, many component element parlays on these prop bets? Because that seems to be when I see FanDuel is buying television networks now. They bought a couple of regional cable systems here in Florida. It used to be at one time it was Sports Channel, and there was another regional system here. It evolved eventually to be Bally's for a while, and now I guess FanDuel is buying up some of these Bally's networks. And I'm thinking that's not happening because the guy that's betting 50,000 a game is getting buried night after night on FanDuel. That's happening because the guys that are betting 10 element prop NBA parlays. No, and it must be massive the amount of losses these people are incurring to be buying up television. It's only a matter of time before they buy CBS, don't you think?
It's crazy. These networks have done such a great job of promoting the wins, right? So you see these, $10 bettors hitting these $90,000 bets, and we forget about the 2 million tickets that lost. So because we just promote, and so the average bettor kind of goes, holy crap! I mean, I see it all the time here in Washington. You get to the casino, there's a line out the door, guys putting in their lottery tickets. You're like, what? Why is this taking so long? Was he's putting in his 19th team?
Yes,
On the thing. So uh,
all tied to
definitely
some
not
soccer
something we
game in
promote. I mean,
Mexico. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, even yesterday I had a guy. We actually went 3-1 yesterday, and I had a guy go, "Damn it!" And I go, "What do you mean, damn it?" And he sends me his ticket. It was a $50 14 parlay that had lost due to our one loss, and I'm going, "Gosh, you gotta
yeah.
be kidding me." So it's not a good way to go about it. But like you said, the networks, they are just promoting it and promoting, like, look at this guy. This guy Timmy turned 20 into 20,000 and one bet. You could do the same. It's a bad
Yeah, you,
thing.
you don't see the guys face down in the gutter or
Mhm.
sleeping in their cars in the parking lot at the Hard Rock during the half hour that they used to be closed. You never have any kind of images like that. It's
You
always
know,
some celebrity that just hit for a
correct.
hundred grand. Yeah, I mean it is slightly misrepresented. You would have to say, having been in gambling, I would imagine most of your life, and you realize that there are more tough beats than there are times where you're
Correct.
celebrating something like that. I am seeing this as a pattern, though, Trey West, and it's something that you had a lot of success with. Although I think you were doing it with two teams or two or three teams, maybe, and that was money line favorites parlayed together. But I'm seeing guys do it. A lot of examples of guys that are doing it with. They keep posting tickets where they had 7, 8 teams, all money line, heavy money line favorites, and then one would lose, and they would post that as if we should all be shocked by the fact that their money went up in smoke. But yeah, that's pretty common practice now. Although people are not practitioners with any kind of discipline like you are, they're just sending it in with like a 10 team all favorite parlay.
Yeah, exactly. We still absolutely try to pick our spots. It's actually funny you mentioned that because as much as we've done well this year, we had our first we had our first bet that went through that we had a no sweater, and we had USC at home money line they won 42-20. We had Cal at home money line they won 44-0. We had Notre Dame money line against Navy. I can't remember the final of that, but that was ugly. And then we had Alabama money line at home against Missouri. Those four teams paid plus 109 on a parlay, and none of the four were within 30 points.
Nice to get one of those, intentional walks. That's for sure, right to the
Doesn't
window.
happen often in gambling, that's for sure.
Just send you
So,
right down to first base there. You don't even have to face any pitching. All right, now I want to get into a couple of things, and then we'll get into your picks. You had a nice week last week, like you said. You actually named the score on a USC game, hit the score spot on, and you were all over Cal laying 10, and they managed to annihilate their opposition in that ball game, and so you were 2-0 there, and then a lot of people took it on the chin with the Cowboys, as Cowboys I think went off 5-point underdogs to the 49ers. So you're getting 5 points with the Cowboys. The 49ers did get a couple of their guys back, but they're still missing enough talent to make you think that they didn't deserve to even be favored in that spot. And the Cowboys can't get it together. So it was a 2-1 week for Troy West here on the show last week. And as you said, you did very nicely in some other areas and are pursuing NBA props. But I wanted to look quickly at this Thursday night NFL game. I don't know if that's going to be one of your selections, but where the Jets are now favored. People keep thinking that, I mean, why are they being deceived by what they're seeing? The Jets are not a good team. They have talent. They are favored now, and Houston's compromised with the injury to Stephon Diggs. But would you be inclined at all to lay points with the New York Jets? They have Devontae Adams. Garrett Wilson established himself again last week, with Adams serving as, I guess, somewhat of a decoy also. You got Hall at running back, and Aaron Rodgers, we know, is at least capable of doing something, unless he's in such serious decline that he's never going to be what he was in his prime, obviously, but seems capable. But what is all that worth if your offensive line has more holes in it than an O.J. Simpson alibi?
I agree. The Jets and the Cowboys are pretty much the same team this year. I'd even say the Jets have more talent than the Cowboys. But I watched that game closely last week. That was actually my only loss on Sunday. Was a teaser in which I needed the Jets to win that game, and that was the worst coached football team I've ever seen, ever seen in my life, Devo.
Yeah.
Ever. They had at one point they were winning the game. I believe it was 10-3, and they had 4th and 1 on their own 9-yard line and settled for a field goal. The fact that Greg Zerline is still kicking in this league
Oh my
is
God, what happened to him?
unbelievable. I don't know how many misses he has this year, but he missed an extra point in that game. He missed a critical 39-yarder. The guy is so bad. I don't know how he's still on a roster. And that coaching staff is the worst coaching staff I've ever seen. But I'll tell you what, you look at that line Thursday night. I will not have money on it, but I'll tell you, if you're gonna put money on that game, you have to take the Jets. You just with that. I mean, how do you explain the 2-6 Jets with everything going on in
Yeah,
their world going up against? I get it, Diggs out, but the 6-2 Texans, well coached, good football team, good quarterback, a team that's kind of on a mission to the Super Bowl, and you're gonna give them 2 points. That is a weird, weird line. So buyer beware on that one. I'd probably lean the Jets.
very curious. Yeah, to see that come out there now. No, and it doesn't seem impossible to make a case that the Jets should be favored at home. All of Houston's results have been airtight. They've managed to win these games, which is credit to a team. As the cliche goes, the good teams find ways to win, bad teams find ways to lose. And to this point, though, the Jets have been exactly that, a bad team. They find ways to lose. Greg the Leg Zerline, my God. I mean, he's kicking like that guy, the goofy guy from in the Replacements. Remember that when they had the
Yep,
skinny
yep.
guy,
It's
and he was a total wacko. What happened to him? But you can't live with that. And I had a friend. We had a conversation with a guy who's been a long time NFL insider, a gentleman named Jason Cole. He's been with a lot of different organizations. Always very sharp in terms of his assessments of things. Right now, he's with a website called the 33rd Team, which I believe was started by Peter King. And when we had him on a show when Ulbrich was replacing Salah, and he said, "Believe me, this guy is no fucking bargain. You're right on top of it." He thought that Ulbrich, as an interim coach, was another giant mistake being made by the New York Jets in terms of the way they operate, and you have to wonder. I mean, I would think that a major shakeup is in order, but they never seem to get it right. It's pretty incredible. All right, let's get into some stuff here. So you're thinking the Fugazi line would be an indicator that something is up, that something is not kosher in New York when it comes to this jet line, and the Houston Texans, who maybe they're due to get tagged with a loss. I mean, you're living and dying on some very thin turf in terms of margin of victory. Maybe it's time to be on the wrong end of one of those scores. Right? We'll see. But yeah, I'm looking at that. My immediate reaction was how are the Jets favored over anybody this stage of the season? The way the team's been in disarray. All right, what are we looking at this week? It's a wide open. I mean, you have everything from tonight's World Series game to college and pro football going all the way through Monday of next week. So where are we starting, Trey West?
Yeah, we'll give you again 3 games. That's then kind of the niche here, and it's been working. So let's stick with 3 games. We're going Saturday, Georgia versus Florida. Florida's playing a little bit better football. Georgia's starting to really turn it on. I still think they're the favorite to win the whole thing. Georgia's minus 16 and a half at home. That's a big number. I get it, but give me the Bulldogs at home against Florida's minus 16 and a half. They're just playing good football right now. They're starting to click. That's a tough place for Florida to go travel. I like Georgia in a big way, 42 to 17, 16 and a
Wow,
half, not enough points in that one.
them Gators getting blown out. That won't be overwhelmingly upsetting to a lot of their fans who are some of the most annoying fans. And we had nothing but problems with Gator fans over the years here in South Florida. And of course, what was a great rivalry at one time before they punked out on the series against the University of Miami, something that they probably regretted when Miami went into the tank for all of those years. But yeah, the Gator fans calling for the head of Billy Napier, of course. That was a conversation even before the season. And you see them getting hammered by Georgia in spite of showing slight signs of life in recent weeks. All right, so that's number one for Troy West. Georgia
Number
laying a robust 16 and a hook at home over their SEC rival Florida Gators.
Yes, sir. In game 2, we're going to Sparty. Michigan State is getting 7.5 at home against Indiana. I get the hype around Indiana. I watched them closely last week, beat up on my Washington Huskies. But I like the Spartans here, getting 7 and a hook at home. This is still a Big Ten matchup. Michigan State's well coached. Jonathan Smith's done a good job there year 1 for the Spartans. This is going to be a close game. Indiana has not been road tested all year long. They got to go on the road. I'm not sure if the quarterback's going to be back. They say he will be, but even if he is, I think he'll be rusty. He's going to be playing with a hurt thumb. Give me Michigan State getting 7 and a hook in a Big Ten matchup. That place will be rocking. I think that game's decided by a field goal. 24-21. I think Michigan State can win the game, but I'll take 7.5 points.
All right, getting 7 and a hook with Michigan State. They covered a point spread against Michigan last week, although in a losing effort. I think they were getting 5.5, lost by 4, something along those lines. Indiana's been the darling of a lot of our guys, including your good friend Scotty M, who's been riding the magic carpet with Indiana all season long. We converted the professor last week as he got hammered when he had the Indiana-Nebraska game going the wrong way, and then came right back and was all over Indiana last week, and a good week for the professor here on the show. But you're going against him, Troy West, in a bold move, taking 7.5 against the darlings of offense so far this year, the Indiana Hoosiers. And so you got Georgia laying a fat number, 16 and a hook. Michigan State getting a very generous 7 and a hook. Where else are we going on the slate?
Going to the NFL, I love this game. I love this game. I couldn't believe the number when it came out, but give me the Bengals minus 7 at home against the Raiders. Oh man, the Raiders, they put up a fight against the Chiefs last week, but this is still a very bad team. The Bengals, this is do or die for these guys. If they want to make their playoff push, they better get this one and they better get it in a big way. Give me the Bengals in a big way. Bengals -7 at home against the Raiders. I think they win this one handily, 35-13. Give me the Bengals.
All right, put it in the book, people. Georgia -16.5, Michigan State plus 7.5, and the Bengals -7.5 to annihilate the Las Vegas Raiders. Troy, where can people get your info? And then I want to talk a little bit about tonight's World Series game.
Yeah, you can get to the Instagram. That's the best place. It's Troy West. We do promotions, free picks, all sorts of good stuff going on at our Instagram. It's Troy West. The website is troywins.com. All sorts of great packages there. We're very affordable. It's not just me. We've got a team of guys, and we cover everything: UFC, NBA, college basketball, NHL, golf, you name it. We cover it. That's troywins.com.
Very effective, also, as you've been having dynamite results
Thank you.
all year long, and I've been following it. Of course, you send me some of the things that you make available to your clients, and I'm looking and going, "Why the fuck don't I subscribe to this?"
Yeah,
So, no, yeah, very,
I
very good job
appreciate
by
it.
you and your team. You've been coming out on top all season long. What did you think last night? I don't know where you stood in the ball game. We didn't really communicate last night about the Yankees game. Many thought that it was going to be, the old wazoo for the Yankees after they got down 2-0. Another Freddie Freeman homer. I don't know if that was a big prop bet if you got involved there because you were thinking, you know what, this fucking guy is going to do it again. And what's great about the Freeman home run prop is that he does it in the first inning. Usually, like on the very first pitch, and just whacks a meatball out of the park last night. So that was great. Yankees get down 2-0. You thought they might be finished. They're leaving guys on base. Blunders on the base pass again, rearing their ugly head for Yankee followers. They assault that guy. I mean, did you see that? I think the Trump administration blamed Kamala's border policy for the two guys that were trying to grab the mitt and the ball out of it from Mookie Betts. And then the second guy gets in there and he grabs his right hand. You're thinking these guys just paid what? It had to be like 3-4 grand for a World Series ticket, even in that section. Uh, I mean, and they're going to get booted out of there in the first inning of the game. That was insane. But the Yankee bats, bottom of the order, especially, woke up last night, and they managed to come back 11-4. They have Cole going tonight. What do you think?
Yeah, it's funny you said that. I saw a tweet out that fan got a 10-year, $10 million contract yesterday, so he gets those seats for life now.
I mean, it's one thing.
So
Batman's reaching up, and Moises Alou. I mean, no matter
that
what,
was unbelievable.
he'll always say that he would have made the catch. I don't think he would have caught that ball. And the fan's just doing a thing that's normal, right? The ball comes into the crowd,
Yeah,
and you reach up. He's got a glove on there, and they have the a suppression of his ability to enjoy life that came after that. What was really overwhelming. That was a tough story, but these guys were literally, I mean, typical New York, right? Where you just came out of the sporting goods store with a brand new Rawlings mitt and some guy grabs it and runs off. And it turns out it was a store manager. You're thinking,
unbelievable.
who the hell? I don't know that I've seen that in a ballpark where two guys wrestled an outfielder, not only for the ball, but for his glove, which he had already caught the damn ball.
That was a new one for me. That was great. I did have the Yankees yesterday. I thought they would get a game. We talked about it early in the series. I just think it's so disgraceful that a team like the Dodgers would have to go to a bullpen day the entire game. And honestly, their bullpen's relatively beat up. They weren't throwing their bullpen studs, so it was almost like I don't know what Dave Roberts was doing yesterday. It's kind of like he just waved the flag and said, "We'll see you in Game 5." I didn't sense a Dodger team that was really trying to win that game yesterday. And now tonight, like you said, I don't know. I don't have an opinion on tonight. Cole at home. I do ultimately still think the Dodgers win the series, but I thought that was a debacle by the Dodgers yesterday to just kind of wave the flag and throw a bunch of trashy bullpen guys throughout the game. I get it. I get their staff's not deep, but could you have brought Flaherty back on short rest and given yourself a better shot and gone Flaherty versus Gill yesterday? We'll see what happens tonight. I mean, obviously, I think you got to give the edge to Cole at home in that matchup, and we saw what Flaherty did against the Padres. He had the good early game and then stunk it up in the second game. So this will be the second time the Yankees see him in the series. Will he still be effective? We'll see. But I still think the Dodgers win the series, but I was surprised that they just waved the flag last night.
Yeah, it was funny too, and you wish you got some kind of honesty, some transparency in those usually meaningless in-game interviews, which I would think are especially annoying. I mean, a guy just coughed up a grand slam. He went from being in a very favorable position to all of a sudden it looks like Roberts was resigned to the fact the game was lost. Although he comes up with the usual innocuous, well, you know what? There's still a long way to go here, and we're in it, which they weren't totally out of it. I mean, you're down 3 runs. It was early enough in the ball game that they had plenty of time to come back. But what he really should have said is, hey, listen, I know we're fucked here. So
Yeah,
I'm going to just throw garbage out there. In fact, if I could dig up Fernando, I would, and I'd throw him out there on the mound. I just as soon have a dead man out there than go ahead and try the arms of my bullpen, which is going to be necessary to probably close this series out. Especially, I mean, I didn't realize this. I didn't see. They never said how large of a sample this was, but no team's ever come back in a World Series from 3-0 down. Only the Yankees are only the fourth team to be down 3-0 that even forced a game five, and no team has ever forced a game six. But I'm not sure how large is the sample size on that. How many teams have been down 3-0 in the World Series play? You would
fair point.
imagine it's a pretty large number. So that's sort of startling that nobody's ever gotten to a game six in that position. But these are trends which you're thinking, if that's the case, then it's probably due that it happened, right? where the Yankees managed to win 2 out of 3 at home after being, I mean, they weren't being so badly outclassed in the series. It wasn't like they had a winnable game one. It was in the palm of their hand. And all the boonies are going crazy because they think he fucked that up, which I don't know how you felt about that. But, you got Nestor Cortez on ice for like a year and a half, and then you're going
Yeah.
to throw him out there against Freddie Freeman in a big spot. You got to be kidding me. First pitch, whoosh, out of the park. It was somewhere on La Cienega Boulevard, within seconds. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I'd like to see the series extended. I just would. I'd like to see at least a somewhat pressurized game number six, just to make this more entertaining, even if the Dodgers ultimately, as it appears they likely will, ultimately prevail. What kind of price can you get on the Yankees right now? Do we know?
I didn't see that one. I saw they're obviously tonight minus 150. And to your point, I said that yesterday. We were smoking a cigar, watching the game, and I go, I'm surprised. To me, it's not unfathomable to see a team like the Yankees get hot for 4 games and win a series like that. I mean, it's just weird to me because NBA, yeah, if you're down 3-0, and you're a team that's a 5 or 6 point underdog every night, you're probably not winning 4 games as a 5 or 6 point underdog. These games are evenly matched, right? So and even so tonight the Yankees are minus 150. So to me, yeah, it would not shock me. I mean, would I be shocked if the Yankees win the series and win all four? Yes, but I also don't think it would be some unfathomable thing to see a team like the Yankees get hot for 4 games after the Dodgers were just hot for 3. We saw the Dodgers win 3, and they could have won 4. So I don't know the series odds right off the top of my head. I guess the Yankees are probably in that like plus 600 range. Um, but I like the Yankees tonight, and I think this probably loses one in 6 or 7.
And one thing you don't have in this series is that where one team has an ace that you just don't want to get to. I mean, that's not going to be a factor here. Cole would be the
True.
ace, obviously, of the Yankee staff. And who do you consider? Is Flaherty or Yamamoto an ace for the
No.
Dodgers? I mean, there's no guy that you think, oh, shit, well, if it gets to Gibson in game seven, we're dead. Or a Koufax or whatever. There's none of that in play here in this series. So, yeah, is it feasible? Sure. So now that we said that, the Yankees probably get blown out tonight, 9-0. But
True.
we shall see. Troy, once again, where can people follow you?
Yeah, thanks a lot. TroyWins.com is the website. All sorts of great packages there. Very, very affordable. That is our number one goal. We want it to appease everybody. We're not just looking for the $10,000 player. We're looking for the $10 player too. So our packages are priced to afford everybody. It's TroyWins.com. The Instagram is It's Troy West. Lots of great free picks, promotions, giveaways, all sorts of cool stuff going on there.
All right, a lot of fun today. Thanks for joining us once again every Wednesday, Troy West, here on Bury Your Bookie. All right, so the picks again. He had Georgia. He thinks Georgia's going to hammer the Florida Gators. That's the world's largest cocktail party in Jacksonville. A lot of stills out there with these two Deep South teams. Minus 16.5, Georgia over Florida. Michigan State, he likes taking 7 on a hook against everybody's Cinderella spread-beating team, the Indiana Hoosiers, who have been hot this year and put up a lot of points. And he likes the Bengals to just annihilate the Las Vegas Raiders. Bengals laying 7.5 in a desperate spot against a Raider team that fought very hard last week, but nonetheless, Troy West does not feel is very good, and certainly doesn't stand up well against the Bengals on the road. That's going to do it for us. We will join you again tomorrow, maybe with an extended World Series and some more insight into college and pro football, NBA, and NHL as well. And we'll be joined by Mike Jones here on the program. And then Friday, the professor, who's been on a little roll now after that brief slump that he was in. It was ugly, but it was brief. So he's turned the corner, and hopefully he'll have some very favorable action for you on Friday's edition of the program. We'll try and get some Breeders' Cup insight as well. For Greenlight Ventures and Bet Online, I'm Jeff DeForest. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in to today's edition of Bury Your Bookie.